All right, guys, welcome back. We got an update on the truck. I was pretty much getting bored, so I decided to put a set of 2-inch rear lowering shackles on the rear of this truck from Beltec. Looks like you can get them online from Beltec for around $66. I paid a little bit more, but it's always nice to support your local performance shop. So this is the truck we got now. I've already got the rear blocks removed out in between the rear axle and the leaf spring. I'm gonna probably cut those bolts off a little bit. So I'm already down at about 1.25 inches from what it was. So I did my measurements from the top of the wheel well to the ground, and it looks like this thing's got a little bit of a lean. On the left side here, I'm 2 3/8, basically higher in the rear, but only 1.625 inches on the right. So we're gonna install these. I guess it's called a Chevy lean, but we're gonna try to correct that and get this down to level. If I don't like it, adding the 2-inch and removing the block, if it gets too low in the rear, I don't want no Cali lean to it. So if anything, I will put 1-inch shorter coils on there because I don't want to go to spindles 2-inch. I want to still be kind of stock height, but just a little bit lower. So we'll see where it goes. So this morning, I was under the truck and I did this exhaust under here. This bar here, or pipe, tube, whatever. Originally when I had this all the way compressed all the way down as low as it would go in here, but I only had about 2 inches in between the rear end and where this was. So this morning I got this up about as high as I could get it without touching the frame rail, and now I got a good 4 inches here in between this little bracket and my exhaust. So I just had to bend these hangers up a little bit. I kind of pulled this out a little bit on this side, and then again over here you can see I just pulled that pipe out a little bit, tightened it all back down, bent up the hangers a little bit on everything to get this exhaust up. It did shorten the gap up in between that and the rear quarter a little bit, but it actually looks better like it does now than it did before. So anyway, rear block's already out, and then now I got the rear tire down, the spare, it's out. I'm going to drop this hitch down a little bit. Once I drop it down, I got to get to this bolt here, but I think I was doing it earlier. Once I took these bolts out, the ones up here, and then there's 2 right here, I'm going to be able to just swing this out of the way and really get to that bolt through this hole here and not have to drop the whole thing down, because I really don't want to pick it up all the way off the floor. But you can probably get it out of the way completely if you wanted to. And then the only other thing that I have to do here is this pinch weld on the lower side of the bed. I might, to get clearance from the new shackle all the way up here, to get this bolt out from up here, I'll probably just nip this a little bit and then fold this over, just so it has clearance from the new shackles. But we'll see what it looks like when we get there. So let me get some of this work done, and when we get about halfway through, I'll start recording again. Thanks. All right, we're back with a little update here. Got this pinch weld kind of notched out and hammered down flat to the bed. Not gonna lie, that was kind of a pain in the ass, but just to be clear too, that's not my idea. I actually saw that on several other YouTube videos of guys doing the same thing. So they say you need to do that, or else you gotta take the bed off, or at least jack the bed up. Didn't want to do all that. And this will provide a little bit of clearance for movement of that shackle anyway. So let me get these other shackles off here and we'll talk again. All right, guys, we're back now. We got the drop shackles installed. We have the 2-inch drop shackle plus the block removed, so it should be about a 3 1/4 drop. It looks pretty leveled out. Just looking at our measurements here, everything stayed. We actually raised a 1/4 inch in the front from 35.5 to 35 3/4, 35 3/4 to 36. The rear 37 3/8 dropped to 37 or 36 even. And on this side, we're now at 36.5 versus 37 7/8. So we had 2 3/8 rake on the left before and 2 5/8. Now we're at 0 on the right and still 3/4 on the left. So I might do some shimming just to get that flattened out. I guess that's what they call that Chevy lean. So we'll look at that a little bit just to get it perfectly. But looking at the truck, you really can't see any difference. I mean, honestly, when you're nitpicking, you might tell just a little bit. It's dead flat on this side, maybe just 3/4 on the other, but you know, it could be the concrete too, where I measured it. But I am gonna have to adjust the headlights. I put a stripe on the wall over here and got an exact spot with my reverse camera on the driveway cut out there, the expansion joint. So I know exactly where to park, and I did test it, and the headlights they're about here now, where it was, the top of the beam was down here. So I probably will have to adjust the headlights down just a little bit to get back where I was. As far as the shackle install, it went really smooth. You put some jack stands underneath the frame rails up there, and then underneath here, you just jack up the rear end to where you take the tension off the leaf springs, and these bolts literally push right out. And if you're not exactly right, you can kind of pull and push on that leaf spring a little bit to get you close. But you just take this lower bolt out and then jack the rear end up enough to get this upper bolt out in between the bed and the frame rail, and then just push the bolts back in with the new shackles. Was no problem at all. I am going to have to slide under here, remove like 1 notch off that bump stop, because it's literally sitting right down on the bump stop now. I'm still running the stock shocks. I heard guys, you know, putting the extenders on there, whatnot. I might just go with a little bit shorter pair of shocks, but I took it for a test drive real quick, and I could tell it was bouncing off these bump stops. It was a little rough, so we got 1 notch off of that. I think the stock shocks should still be enough travel for right now, but if in the future I may go with a little bit shorter shock. And if I want, I may just go with just a smaller front coil spring just to drop the front just ever so slightly. But overall, the installation of these things wasn't bad at all. I think the worst part was really bending that pinch weld up, just so you have some clearance up there. But other than that, not too bad. So with that, I think we're gonna call it a day on this after I get these bump stops trimmed. And I don't know, next time I do something to the truck, I'll make another video. Thanks for watching.